Any just as a massive fan of the series, and I know there have been rumblings about Scream 5. Is there any chance that you're going to be involved? Are we going to see Sydney again?
Hey, what's up, guys? Jake Hamilton here. Just wrapped up my very first interview with someone that I've always wanted to speak with, Neve Campbell. We had a chance to chat about a lot of different topics, including her new drama, The Castle in the Ground, which focuses on the opioid crisis and the impacts that addiction can have on a person and in the community. And of course, we had to talk about the upcoming 25th anniversary of Scream and whether or not she would be back for Scream 5 if we would ever see Sidney Prescott again. If you don't already, do me a favor, go down, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. I'm trying to land as many of these celebrity interviews as I can, chatting with people at home as we're all staying inside to stay safe and social distance. And if you don't already, do me a favor, head on over to Instagram, follow me at Jake's Takes. I'm always trying to post fun interview clips and celebrity pictures and entertainment headlines, so do me a favor and do that. And I hope you'll enjoy my interview with the great Neve Campbell.
What a pleasure. I've always wanted to meet you. What a pleasure to chat with you. So I just wanted to start by asking, like, how are you doing and how's the family doing? Is everyone safe and healthy?
We're safe, we're healthy, we're being as cautious as we can and as diligent and trying to keep a positive attitude.
Of course. Well, it's good to
How
hear.
about you?
We're good. Family's healthy, dog's healthy, girlfriend's healthy. Everyone's safe and happy.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So I want to start talking about this movie and really movies that tackle drug addiction and the impact that drugs have on a community and sort of this, like, whether they realize it or not, kind of this like a responsibility that they shoulder. And I remember when I was a teenager when Requiem for a Dream came out, and everyone was saying, like, oh, teenagers need to watch this movie because maybe it'll scare them away from doing drugs. When you make a movie that has this topic sort of in the forefront, is there a responsibility to also, like, have a message to it, or can it just be escapist entertainment?
I think there is a responsibility, but I think as being an example of a very harrowing story, that in itself is going to teach something if people take heed from the story. I think inevitably it's really important for people to realize what a quick, slippery slope these kinds of painkillers can have into addiction. And a lot of people are not aware of that even today. So to me, it's a very important story.
This is one of those movies that really, like, you could watch that and it can impact your life, can have ripple effects for years to come. I could see this movie really affecting people. Growing up, what was a movie that you saw that made you look at the world differently or maybe even impacted the way you lived your life?
Oh, wow. That impacted my life. I mean, I guess as an example with drug addiction, Train Spotting, probably, where you
Oh
see
my God.
a similar kind of harrowing story, and how challenging it can be when you go into that kind of addiction. I think for me, probably that is the version of this from my generation, perhaps.
That movie, I could put it on right now and it's still like,
Yeah.
it's, what is it, that's like almost 25 years old in my jaw. So like the bathroom scene and everything in that movie was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of, like, how to phrase this question, but, like, your performance is so, like, heartfelt and it's so deep and everything about this movie just, it really struck me, but it didn't look like a fun movie to make. Like, it didn't look like something that I would be excited to go to the set of every day. I'm curious, like, what sort of, like, mental place you have to get into, or what kind of, like, preparation or agreement with yourself do you have to recognize before taking on a role? Like, do you have to accept that you're not going to have fun doing this?
Yeah, I don't think you go into a job thinking you're going to have a blast when it's this kind of story. I think, but as an artist and as an actor, it's wonderful when you get an opportunity to really dig into a character and dig into a story and dig into a different world that may not be a part of yours, and in a way experience and try to understand and have empathy for people who go through something like this. So as much as it's not fun, I think it's a great learning curve for me and learning experience. And for me, I try to remember at the end of the day, go home, talk to my kids, whatever hotel room I'm in, make sure I talk to my kids, let it go. Don't talk too much about the job itself or the day itself. Speak to my husband and try and keep it light in the evenings. Watch something, distract myself, and,
For sure.
and then you get back to set the next day and you get back into it. But it's okay. It wasn't a long shoot. I think if this was a 5-month shoot, that would have been really challenging. It was really
Oh, for sure.
4 weeks.
Speaking of your kids, I know obviously you are a mother. And I'm just sort of curious, like, I would imagine that it impacted the performance in one way or the other. But I'm sort of curious, like how potentially the performance would have been different if you didn't have kids. Like how would you have been able to maybe tap in as deeply?
I'm not sure that I would have been able to be honest. I think, being a mom and having two sons certainly made playing this character challenging emotionally, because I was putting myself in the shoes of Rebecca, obviously, and imagining what it would be if I had to say goodbye to my boys. It was, very, very emotional to go through that. And obviously certainly adds to my understanding of how to play her.
I'm such a fan. I've been such a fan of yours for so long, and to get ready for this interview, I was thinking about all the amazing films you've been a part of. And one of the things that really struck me is that like there's no through line to any of your performances or any of the roles or any of the films. Like they're all so vastly different, and one's over here and the other's over here. Like, do you see a through line to any? And I mean that as a compliment to your
Thank
filmography.
you.
Do you see any through line to the choices that you've made throughout your career?
I try not to have one, to be honest. I think I just like to challenge myself and try and play different roles. I think I'd get really bored if I was doing the same thing all the time. I think as an artist, you have to be willing to fall flat on your face, and you have to be willing to try something new. And we never know walking into something, whether if we're trying something new, whether we're going to pull it off completely. You have a sense of it. You do the work that you can to jump into it and try and connect to it. And hope that it works. But I like that challenge. I like taking those risks. So that means a lot to me, because I get bored if I see one person do the same thing every time.
Yeah, and there are those actors out there, right? And we know who they are. You obviously started very young in this business, and you like what I was saying, you've kind of progressed throughout and made different interesting choices. For a young actress who is maybe just now coming into the business, what advice would you have for her so that she can maintain the same sort of maybe career that you've had?
I think it's really great as an actor to realize that you're never going to be perfect. There's never going to be a place in your career where that's it, that's the best you can do. And I think that's what's wonderful about being an artist, that you can always grow. And if you can set your ego aside and, like I said, be willing to fall on your face, be willing to try new things, to go to coaches once in a while if you think your work is suffering in a way or you're not feeling inspired, go to classes, watch a lot of great actors work, get to know artists and directors as best you can. I just think it's so important to not have ego and to just be willing to learn constantly, and willing to grow, and not ever think that you're perfect, because you never will be, and that's okay.
Well, speaking of watching amazing work, I'm sort of curious, when you watch your own work, if you're going to watch this film, like what sort of emotion? Because I'm sitting here watching you in this film and watching on camera. I'm just like, obviously because I've been watching you for so long, I'm thinking like, I can't believe that's her pulling off this performance. What sort of impact do you have watching yourself give a performance like this?
It's hard to watch yourself. It really is. I think, I know there's some actors who cannot watch themselves at all. I feel like every time I watch myself, I learn a bit. I think it can always do better. And I learned something from watching. But I usually only watch something once or twice, and then I let it go.
You let it go? Move on. Fair enough.
Yeah,
whenever
I do,
whenever I do my morning show, so I'm set up here and I go live every morning, and I have the TV on over here just to kind of make sure, so I can look at the shot and make sure it looks okay. But even then, when I look over, I'm like, oh God, I can't do it. I can't. Pull the Johnny Depp, and I'm like, oh, I can't watch it. It's crazy to think that next year is going to be the 25th anniversary of what I think is one of the greatest films of all time, which is Scream. My sister bought me the VHS when I was a kid, when I probably shouldn't have been watching it, and we watched it together, and I fell in love with it. But horror is such an interesting thing, because sometimes time doesn't do great things. You look back at a horror movie and you're like, oh, that's not as good or as scary as I remember it being. But despite the fact that the movie features landlines and video stores, it's still a timeless movie, and it is still perfect. Or what do you think time has done to Scream? And how do you think it's held up over the years?
Well, I just know from what people tell me that they still love it. And, I enjoy, not that I sit down and watch Scream all the time, but if it pops up on the TV or, they're fun to watch. They have a great sense of humor. Wes Craven knew what he was doing. He knew how to give people a really great roller coaster ride, scare them, make them laugh. get great performances out of people. So if you can get that, then usually you'll stand the test of time.
For sure. Any just as a massive fan of the series, and I know there have been rumblings about Scream 5. Is there any chance that you're going to be involved? Are we going to see Sydney again?
They've come to me,
Mm-hmm.
and we're having conversations. It's a little hard at the moment because of COVID,
Right.
to know when that'll happen, and hopefully we can see eye to eye on all the elements that have to come into place for it to happen. I originally had been really apprehensive about doing another Scream without Wes, because he's such a genius and he is the reason they are what they are. But the directors who have come to me have come with such a great appreciation for Wes's work and really want to honor it, and that meant a lot to me. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do it.
I would love to see you back. And as we wrap up, whenever I told people I was getting the chance to talk to you, I probably told 5 or 6 different people, and 5 or 6 different people came back with like, "Oh my God, you have to talk to her about this," and listed different things on your filmography. Whenever you're out and about at a time when we could walk around and you could see like a fan walking towards you, do you have a feeling of like, can you clock someone? Can you tell like, oh, I know what they're going to talk to me about, or is it always random every time?
No, you can get a sense. Obviously it's often Scream or The Craft or Party of Five, sometimes The Company, House of Cards.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get a sense from ages and genders and all of that what it might be, but sometimes you'll be surprised.
Interesting. Would you have clocked me as a Scream guy if I was walking towards you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm really glad to hear you and your family are doing well. I cannot stress how unbelievable you are in the film and how great the film is. And I've always wanted to talk to you. And hopefully the next time we'll be in person.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
All right, stay safe, and it was a pleasure chatting with you. All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.